friends, I am Dr. Kuldeep Mohadikar. I will be presenting in this video my 14th chapter from my series, Chapters from the History of English Literature. The title of this chapter is, the 14th chapter is Romantic Revival. The Romantic movement in literature began with the storming of the Bastille in Paris, first spilling of blood in French Revolution. But Romanticism was trying to stir all the way through the age of reason itself. The neoclassical period may be said to have closed only between 1718 to 1798. It is generally supposed that the English Romantic movement began in 1778 with the publication of lyrical ballads, jointly edited by Wordsworth and Coleridge. But it is wrong to assign definite date to it, as it was not a sudden outburst but the result of long gradual growth and development. The romantic quest is in the remote and distant, and in this sense the Elizabethans were our first romantics. It is called a romantic revival because the romantic spirit suffered a total decline and eclipse during the neoclassical period, which was mainly intellectual and rational, deficient in emotion and imagination. It dealt excessively with the artificial life of the upper classes of the city of London, and its form and diction was as artificial as its theme. It had no feeling for nature and no feelings for those who lived outside the narrow confines of fashionable London society. It confined itself only to the heroic couplet, to the utter disregard of the music and melody of a host of ancient English meters. Romantic movement began as a reaction against the dry intellectuality and artificiality of pseudo-classicists. According to Professor Herford, I quote, primarily, it was an extraordinary development of imaginative sensibility. Emotion and imagination are the bedrock of Romanticism. I unquote. The Romanticist takes us to far off places in the Middle Ages and introduces the readers to a world of strangeness and beauty. Pater considers the romantic characters in art as consisting in the addition of strangeness to beauty. It is the addition of curiosity to the desire of beauty that constitutes the romantic temper. Further qualities of romanticism are certain sense of mystery, exuberance, intellectual curiosity, and instinct for the elemental simplicities of life. Romanticism stands for freedom and liberty, and therefore it has been termed as liberalism in literature. It stands for freedom from all kinds of bondage of rules and regulation, and leaves its pursuers in free delight of the romantic fancy. It paved the way for wonder and delight and herald of the dawn of new way of looking at life. The romantic revival brings the spirit of Renaissance in the present day literature. Besides these qualities, love for supernaturalism, nature and humanism mark the spirit of Romanticism. Lyricism escape to the Middle Age, and the nostalgic memories of the past and subjectivity are also the characteristics of Romanticism. With the publication of lyrical ballads, the movement of Romanticism got an impetus. Wordsworth and Coleridge were highly impressed by the French Revolution with its principle of liberty, equality, and fraternity. At the same time, the German influence on the philosophical side, making English poetry rather philosophical tone. It is this philosophy which is at the back of Wordsworth's mysticism, Shelley's pantheism, and idealistic interpretation of nature in the poetry of Coleridge. The Romantic revival was the result of not one cause. It was inevitable corollary of the Renaissance and Reformation both. Keats, Shelley, Byron, Lamb, and Hazlitt belong to the second generation of Romantic writers. They began to compose mainly after 1850, by which day Wordsworth and Coleridge had given the world the best which they had to give, while the poets of the first generation attained respectability and social acceptance in the lifetime. The poets of the second generation remained outcast till the very end, and their fame grew only after their death. Keats, Shelley, and Byron were rejected by the society for their revolutionary ideas and rather bohemian way of life. The rejection cause gives them much sorrow and suffering, hastening their death. Thus, the Romantic poet, by laying more stress on emotions, feelings, and fancy than on cold reason, remind the spirit of Shakespeare, Spenser, and Webster. Hence, it is known as the Romantic Revival. So, this was all about Romantic Revival in this 14th chapter from the series Chapters from the History of English Literature, friends. Thanks, friends.